whoa. Dumb it down a little bit. This is so confusing, and I love it! Well, technically, I don't really love that much confusion. Actually, it's not that confusion, but we're making this confusion. Ah, my brain hurts. But I have to say, though, I like this concept. Sounds cool. It is actually, in a way, that actually does make sense. And you all remember what Xiao Mei said many chapters ago? She said time doesn't mean much. In a way, this is what she meant. But it seems that time slips can still happen because after all, they still haven't, well, denied it. So, well, when it comes to time, you should not understand it. It's too confusing. Even though everything about this is not so confusing at all. But yes, this is me, the Angry Anime fan, and finally it's Eden no Zero chapter 11. I've been waiting for this one. Well, I just wanted to read it. First of all, a color page that is actually promoting the Japanese release of the first volume of Eden no Zero. It's apparently going to be released in Japan the 14th of September. So please, Japan, buy that book so we can at least get a little bit longer of this manga. But I don't think it's going to sell that good. Also, it's worth noting though that this cover page also has the rabbit girl from the bar. Well, technically we do see her this chapter, minor spoiler alert, but I'm a little bit confused about that. Then again, when this Eden no Zero was promoted, we got Michael and the Demon King, and so far they died in the first chapter. So maybe we shouldn't read too much into this. Although that robot, Griffin, is that modeled after that annoying white jellyfish-like sidekick in Ravemaster? Who cares? On to the chapter. Wise says that he can upgrade the ship if they hand it over to him, because he's pointing out that uh, he has an idea, so he'll get finally arrested, but Rebecca and Shiki will not. So Shiki has give the young Wise the ship. And he also mentions that we need a better ship to travel to Mother anyway, which apparently Wise reacts to. So after that he shoves Rebecca out of the way and reveals himself to be an ether gear user. Only difference is that his ether gear allows him to tap into machines and upgrade them on the spot. Basically, I think you could call it fusion with them. Basically allows him to fusion with the spaceship and then remodel it immediately after. That's a pretty cool and neatful ship. It is also revealed that is very likely how he made Happy. He probably used the corpse of Happy together with a robot body and then fused their consciousness together. Something like that. It's because he does confirm it. His ether gear is called Machina Maker, and he confirms to Happy that if it was him in the future, he did indeed fix it. Also, the young Wise does show some amount of kindness here, as he actually fixes Pino's legs, so now she is back. Yeah, and it turns out that it seems that Shiki hasn't named his Shiki Aether Gear, so he asks the professor for one, young one, and he as mockingly calls it Font Boy, which is not. So after that they break out of Norma's field, but then the real mystery comes as the phone rings, and who is it on the phone? Well, none other than the older Wise, who explains everything. And when I mean like this, I mean in a way it's confusing, and in a way it's very simple. So even Happy here says, dumb it down a little bit. But I'll try to explain it as much as I could understood. Turns out that Norma never was stuck in the past. Well, yes, it was stuck in the past, but not in space. Do you know what I mean by that? Well, probably you don't. Maybe I said it wrong. What I'm trying to say is Rebecca, Shiki, and Happy never traveled in the past. The planet Norma they were on had its time stolen, so it looks like it is in the past. Because it turns out that in the news, the planet Norma has gotten a travel ban. Long time ago, Professor Wise, I mean the older Wise said that the planet was dying, but it turns out it has now suffered an even worse fate. Uh, it's something along the line is it has been put in another timeline, a permanent timeline 50 in the future because of a creature known as the Time Eater. So it's basically a star whose time got stolen, and 50 worth of it all. So it will never really age, or maybe it will age, but it will lose its every single time it had 50 years ago is gone, and that is why Wise existed on one plane 50 years ago. It's a creature called the Time Eater, a natural disaster. Actually, when I see the picture of the Time Eater, I cannot help but think of Endless from Rave Master, or maybe even Acnologia from Fairytale. Is this the main antagonist of this manga? Well, we do not know yet if this manga is gonna go on a little bit longer, so it's too early to tell. So it seems that a star that is affected by the Time Eater, will have their time rewinded, and there is no way to undo it. It just becomes a reality that is 50 years in the back in the space which the Time Eater ate. So it will be in the 50 years in the past, no matter where it goes. So the original Norma do not understand anymore, exist anymore, but the old Wise managed to flee from the planet before its time got stolen. Do you mean what I understand by that? I think it means that when the Time Eater attacked the present Norma and ate its time, then everyone who was there 50 years in the future, I mean in the present now, ceased to exist. But since the old professor escaped the planet, together with the bunny girl, mind you, although what makes me a bit confused about this is this the young bunny girl, or is this a bunny girl 50 years in the future? I mean, in now, because when I look at her, she doesn't really look that old. I mean, granted she is an alien, so maybe an alien doesn't age as much. Either way, since the old professor escaped Norma before its time got eaten, or maybe it didn't, he is unaffected by the time and therefore can keep on living. And since the young Wise escaped together with Rebecca and Shiki, exists now in an own timeline, meaning that the old Wise and the young Wise maybe are the same character, but they are not the same characters in this time, meaning they can interact. Actually, I really wanted the old and the young to interact with each other. I know what I'm saying is extremely confusing, but it's time, people. You can never explain time. But I have to say I like this concept. It also turns out that, yes, Professor Wise operated or repaired, uh, you know, Pino. Actually, when I think about it, does that mean that he left Pino at or forgot Pino in the present Norma, and then she was unaffected by the time? 50 years, because technically she didn't exist 50 years. Who cares? Who cares? Either way, what I'm trying to say is apparently the one who made Pino was the Demon King, and we all remember the Demon King as the parental, not subordinate, substitute to Shiki. And what I know is the Demon King seemed to have been dead, but are we gonna meet him again either way? So either way, the old Wise finally pays attention to the young hunk, which is his young, and does explain that the time, as I said before, the Time Eater may have eaten the time of Norma, but that has created a new reality, so not a time paradox. So the Norma you have been to wasn't the past but a present that got its time stolen. It's as simple as that. And so whatever you do in the Norma, whatever the young me does from now on will not affect me in the slightest. He is his own person even if they are the same. So both his basically the old one is Wise from the year X492 who escaped the Time Eater, and the young Wise is the Wise from the year X442 whose time got eaten. Both histories are correct, is what the manga is saying. And yes, he even acknowledges that this creates confusion, and it's a big disaster. And even though the old one doesn't know how long the young one will live, he is his own person. But then Signal interferes as Elsie's pirate crew finally catch up to Rebecca's crew and captures them with an ether one. As she smiles sadistically, she says, "I found you, Shiki." Well, I have to admit, this was one hell of a chapter. I liked it. I liked it. And it's only getting me pumped up for more. But again, I don't know if I can be pumped up because it's no guarantee that Aiden no Zero is gonna continue. All depends on how much people are gonna buy his volume when it comes out. And also, it's worth noting the next chapter is called Skull Fairy. Another callback to Fairy Tale, maybe. Or after all, people did say that Elsie basically looks like Elsa, so from Fairy Tale, you know. So Skull Fairy may be a final nice twist on it all. But yeah, turns out that the young Wise is now part of the Shiki and Rebecca crew because he's his own person. Truly confusing. But who that bunny girl is, no idea. I mean, she did say that Wise Chan's charm got better when he got older. That makes me suggest that. I mean, that makes me think that maybe this is a past one. But again, time is extremely confusing. Even the old Wise says it himself. But I'll try to summarize this as quick as I can. The Norma they were in the past, but they were still in the present because its time got stolen. They were basically in a new reality, a reality that is forever in the 50 years in the future. Past! In the past. Truly, I did not see that coming. Xiao Mei is correct. Time doesn't mean much because the Time Eater is out there, devouring time as we speak. And I think that is the main antagonist. But you can like and subscribe if you want to. Give me your thoughts if you have any. But if you give me crap, I'll delete that comment.